Why is the 4th of August a public holiday in Ghana? So let me quickly share with you. This is JCL Tutorials, and thank you for clicking on this particular video. Now, the great man Bob Marley himself once said in one of his popular songs, Buffalo Soldier, that when you know your history, then you know where you are coming from. Now, I draw a lot of ideas from that song because what I'm going to talk about has to do with our founding leaders or founding fathers, and I call them the Buffalo Soldiers. They were the ones who went through the struggles and took us to independence. History is all about telling stories, and stories that have taken place in the past, events that have occurred, and why it's so important for we in the next generation or the generation to come have to know about all these things that have happened. You can never run away from the past or history, and we need information from there to learn and know what our great men did when we were not there. I believe these are information that you are familiar with, but then I'm sure you can add something to what you already know. People say Ghana here, we have a lot of holidays, but I think, yes, there's a reason behind the celebration of some of the key statutory holidays, and we need to know why we celebrate them. One of them that I'm going to talk about is the 4th of August one. This particular date is a memorable one, and we need to understand the reason behind its coming into establishment. So let's look at back in history. But before that, you should know that this particular day was used not to be a holiday, but what happened was that in March 2019, the Public Holiday Amendment Bill was sent to Parliament and it was passed into law. And that law brought into the establishment of the 4th of August statutory holiday. And this is to celebrate our founding leaders or our founding fathers. So the question is all about who were the founders and where to place the apostrophe, whether it was founders or founders. So you see the difference. One is actually referring to a group of people who had a mind to cause social reforms and economic reforms in the Gold Coast. That's before we became independent. And these people had to be remembered all the time. One is referring to one particular person, and the idea behind we making it Founders Day, the apostrophe in front of the S, is that we don't have to look at just one person as the one who made all the attempts to push us through the struggles to become an independent country or an independent state. So the fight against colonial rule and colonial administration actually started when a group of people once met. This led to the formation of the UGCC. So before I talk about the UGCC, let's quickly look at the Aborigines Right Protection Society. Now, this particular movement or association, I spoke about it in one of my videos, one of my old videos. When you check, you realize that in the year 1897, actually, it started from 1895. But in the year 1897, a group of lawyers had to represent the Gold Coast to go and fight for the people, the natives. And when they realized that the British had passed certain laws to take some lands belonging to the people in the Gold Coast, the people had to fight for their own rights. So that is the natives' right. So Aborigine stands for native. So we had lawyers, John Mensah Saba, say, and the group, they did very well. They had lawyers representing the Gold Coast, and they went to the UK and defended the Gold Coast lands in our favor. And we won the case, and the lands were later on released to the natives or the local people. So it was a successful fight, and we have to look at that as one of the greatest achievements because it was also defending our land and protecting our sovereignty in a way. Okay, so you know the journey did not start as just a huge or big one, but it was a gradual step-by-step thing. So when you look at the entire Africa, it was one of the greatest movements that shook the political scene, and a lot of people recognized the efforts of John Mensah Saba and the other group. Now that was on the 4th of August. Fast forward, 4th of August 1947, the United Gold Coast Convention was formed, and we had George Grant, popularly known as Paa Grant, who was their president, together with J.B. Danquah. So J.B. Danquah is regarded as the founder, and we had a president, George Grant, together with some great men who some of them were members of the Big Six. So we had people like Emmanuel Obiche-Vilamte, William Ofori-Atta, Ebenezer Akwaje. We had Robert Samuel Blay, R.S. Blay, you can put it that way. He was, you know, when Ghana became a first republic, he was once a justice under that particular administration. Edward Ekufuado himself was a founding member of the UGCC. And we had R.A. Awono. So the members of the group I've just mentioned, when they were arrested, 6 of them were arrested as a result of the causes of the 1948 riots, the riots that occurred on the 28th February 1948 in Accra. So when we had, I spoke about that in one of my videos I did on the major political events, independence and nationhood. So when you check that out, You find all the information over there. You know, Watson Commission had been instituted or established by the new governor that came in, that was Noble Clark, to investigate the causes of the riot. In their report, they even stated that J.B. Danquah, that is Joseph Boakye Kwame Chirechire Danquah, in the Watson's report was described as the doyen of Ghanaian politics or Gold Coast politics. Doyen just simply means that a prominent or a very instrumental member in some form of event or some form of action that was taken. So the people I've just mentioned were the founding members. Now, Nkrumah was invited to join the party. So in answering the examination question, you have to be mindful of the fact that Nkrumah wasn't a founding member of the UGCC. He left the party and formed his own party. When he left 11th of June and 12th of June, he and together with Kojo Bochie and some other members formed the Convention People's Party. And that was the party that remained stronger in the fight for independence. Yeah, so we know these were great achievements. All these people did something. So we have to put all of them together and celebrate the 4th of August as the Founders' Day with the apostrophe in front of the S. You get it? So there's no fight about this one. We have to understand. People can downplay the achievements of the UGCC or whatever, but they also did a lot of things. Because of their activism and their action, they did a lot of things, and the achievements, they instituting or establishing the Talking Drum as a newspaper, the kind of enlightenment they gave to the people of Gold Coast. People became aware about socioeconomic issues and they became aware of political issues. So they got to know that this is what was happening in the country and they need to what? Stand up and take action. But you know, when Nkrumah joined, because the relationship between he and the members of the UGCC became very poor, after that breakdown, he had to leave the party because the people also did not agree with some of the things he did. They felt that his actions were undermining the ideology or the activities of the UGCC. So when he was demoted or they changed his position from general secretary to treasurer, he wasn't too happy about it. So he had a meeting with his people in Salt Pond. And interestingly, Salt Pond was where UGCC members also met and formed the party. So I admire the Salt Pond in our political history so much. So I actually describe it as a small melting pot of Gold Coast political activism. So Salt Pond is one great place. It's in the central region of Ghana. Anytime you visit Ghana, make sure you get to Salt Pond. A lot of arguments have come up since the date was changed and all these issues concerning whether Nkrumah was being underestimated, his achievements and whatever, or it was just a one-person fight. And yes, we know Nkrumah did a lot of things. He did so many things, and no one can downplay that. No one can underestimate that. The facts are there. If you want to argue, just go into the history books. Let's go out there and see all the things that all these members were able to do. But that is not where my focus is. My focus is on the fact that there is a day that we have to put all of them together and remember them and celebrate them as founders. So the petty fights will not work, will not help us. We need to be strongly united and believe in the dream of these people. Are we actually living the life that these people laid? You see, because we have to live the life. Living the life means that they had the dream, they created it, and they did it. They pushed and it worked. But are we living as people who are free from colonial rule? That is the lesson we have to learn. So on the day, we need to think deep, meditate over it, and look at the actions that these people took, the brave actions in front of all the colonial masters and the colonial government, what the people did to them. Some had to go to jail and they were released later on, but they still continue to press. So whether Nkrumah did that or J.B. Danquah did that, Paa Grant or whoever, they all come together and their efforts little by little. That's why I like one wise saying that the Fantis always used to say. They are like nipa nyehwe kra on sabua. You see, it means that everybody's effort had to be what? Appreciated. Looking at all the members of the UGCC who invited Nkrumah to join the UGCC, Ebenezer Akweje. So he joined the party and he became one of the greatest assets and one of the people who made us break through in the quest for independence and freedom. And we got there. So what are we doing as the next generation? What are we going to do? What are we going to tell our children? Are we going to live like slaves? Are we going to have that colonial mentality? I think that the lessons from that is that somebody has paved the way. Let us make sure we always put that into our mind and live the dream and make sure that whatever will come against our sovereignty or our independence, and keep people under slavery, our thinking, our minds, our ideas, our political system, our economic system, we have to set ourselves free from that and do what we are supposed to do to keep Ghana moving and Ghana to become the gateway of Africa and one of the greatest in the whole world. Thank you for watching this video. I believe you have learned a few things and you've added to whatever you already know. So that is why 4th August is a statutory or a public holiday. So when it's time, you see public announcement or a press release from the Ministry of Interior and they will announce it. So if you are in 2024 watching this video, you know the 4th of August falls on Sunday, but because we have to observe it, the holiday is pushed to Monday, that's the next day, so we can all observe it. Enjoy your holiday, enjoy the 4th of August. Let's keep remembering our great forefathers or founding leaders, and let's keep telling the story well. Thank you for watching GCL Tutorials. I'll come your way again with another interesting lesson. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.